The year was 2087. Humanity had spread beyond Earth, building colonies on Mars and Europa, but they had not yet traveled beyond their own solar system. Commander Allison Wright stood on the bridge of her patrol ship near Neptune. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her blue uniform showed her rank in the United Earth Defense Force. "Commander, we're picking up something strange," said Officer Ryan Miller. His eyes were fixed on the glowing screen in front of him. "It's like nothing I've ever seen before." Allison moved quickly to his station. "Show me." The screen displayed a wave pattern that pulsed with an odd rhythm. As they watched, the pattern grew stronger. "Could be a sensor malfunction," Allison said, but she didn't believe it. Her instincts told her this was something important. "All systems are working properly," Ryan said. "This signal is real." Suddenly, a bright flash appeared at the edge of their sensors. The light grew larger, forming what looked like a hole in space itself. "My God," whispered Allison. "Is that what I think it is?" "If you're thinking it's a wormhole, then yes," said Dr. Maya Foster, the ship's science officer. Her voice trembled slightly. "And something is coming through." They watched in silence as the first ships emerged. They were massive, gleaming with a metal that seemed to shift colors in the darkness of space. More followed, dozens, then hundreds. "Send a message to Earth Command," Allison ordered. "Priority Alpha. First contact scenario. We have visitors." Back on Earth, governments scrambled to respond. Emergency meetings were called. Military forces went on high alert. The news spread quickly. Aliens had arrived. Captain Gregory Hayes was eating dinner when his phone rang. As a diplomatic officer with the United Earth Council, he knew a late call meant trouble. "Hayes," he answered. "Captain, report to headquarters immediately," said the voice of General Scott. "We've made contact with an alien civilization." Gregory's fork clattered to his plate. "I'll be there in 10 minutes. At headquarters, he met Dr. Eliza Monroe, a linguist and xenobiologist who had studied theoretical alien communication for years. She wore simple clothes and had kind eyes behind round glasses. "This is real," she said when she saw him. "After all these years of wondering, we finally know we're not alone." General Scott briefed them quickly. "The alien fleet has established position near Neptune. They've sent a transmission. We need you two to help us understand what they want." The message from the aliens came in the form of mathematical sequences that Dr. Monroe worked quickly to decode. "It's a language primer," she explained. "They're teaching us how to communicate with them. They're calling themselves the Zalthori." Within hours, basic communication was established. The aliens requested a meeting with Earth representatives. "We've been chosen," Gregory told Eliza as they boarded a fast shuttle to Neptune. "First humans to meet an alien species." "I just hope they're friendly," Eliza replied. 3 days later, they docked with the alien flagship. Gregory's heart pounded as the airlock opened. The Zalthori were tall, with 4 arms and skin that shimmered like their ships. Their faces had no nose, just breathing slits, and their eyes were large and entirely black. "Welcome," said the alien leader through a translation device. "I am High Commander Vexnar of the Zalthori Empire." Gregory stepped forward. "I am Captain Gregory Hayes, representing Earth. This is Dr. Eliza Monroe, our chief scientist." The meeting room was large, with curved walls that seemed alive with flowing patterns of light. Gregory noticed how the aliens moved with precise, confident motions. They acted like people who were used to being in charge. As talks progressed, Gregory felt increasingly uneasy. The Zalthori spoke of their vast empire spanning multiple star systems. They mentioned other species they had brought into the fold. "We have united 17 civilizations under our guidance," said Vexnar. "All live in peace now." During a break, Eliza whispered to Gregory, "They're not saying how these civilizations joined them. Notice how they avoid certain topics?" Gregory nodded. "They're hiding something." Later, when Earth's representatives asked to establish friendly relations, Vexnar's tone changed. "Friendly relations are simple," the alien said. "Your world will join the Zalthori Empire. Your resources and people will serve our needs." "We're not looking to be conquered," Gregory said firmly. "We want to be allies, not subjects." The alien commander rose to his full height. You misunderstand. This is not a negotiation, it is a courtesy. We inform all species before we take their worlds. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Gregory stood his ground. Earth will not surrender its independence. Your technology is primitive. Your defenses are weak. Your resistance would be brief and pointless, said Vexnar. We have studied your communications. We know your capabilities. Then you know we've fought wars among ourselves for centuries, Gregory replied. Humans don't give up easily. Vexnar made a sound like grinding metal, which the translator didn't catch. You have 2 Earth days to prepare your people and submit. After that, we will take what we want by force. Back on their shuttle, Gregory and Eliza worked frantically. While the aliens thought they were preparing to leave, they were actually gathering all the intelligence they could. I've accessed some of their transmissions, Eliza said, her fingers flying over a portable computer. Their encryption is complex, but I've broken through parts of it. What have you found? Asked Gregory. Technical specs, mostly. They use some kind of quantum technology for their ships and weapons. It's beyond anything we have. She paused, eyes widening. Wait, there's something else. Records of the other species they conquered. Gregory looked over her shoulder at images of devastated worlds and enslaved aliens. They don't just conquer, Eliza whispered. They destroy any resistance completely. Make examples of those who fight back. As their shuttle departed the Zalthori ship, they watched the massive alien fleet. Hundreds of warships spread out, taking positions throughout the solar system. We have 48 hours, Gregory said quietly. We need to get this information to Earth immediately. On Earth, leaders debated what to do. Some wanted to fight. Others suggested surrender might save lives. Admiral Patricia Daniels listened to all sides before speaking. Her face was lined with years of service, her gray hair cut short. If we surrender, we become slaves, she said simply. These Zalthori have done this before. They won't show mercy either way. But their technology is far beyond ours, argued a government official. How can we possibly win? Admiral Daniels smiled grimly. They think they know our capabilities, but they don't know everything. In a secure room beneath the Pacific Ocean, she showed Gregory and Eliza a holographic display of Earth's secret defense projects. After the asteroid near-miss of 2043, we began developing technologies we hoped we'd never need to use, she explained. The public knows about some of our defenses, but not all of them. The display showed plans for weapons unlike anything Gregory had ever seen. Will they be enough? He asked. I don't know, Admiral Daniels admitted, but we're about to find out. As the 48-hour deadline approached, Earth prepared for the fight of its life. The Zalthori watched from space, confident in their victory, unaware that humanity had a few surprises waiting. High Commander Vexnar studied the holographic display of Earth's defenses. The blue planet rotated slowly in the center, surrounded by small dots representing human military stations and ships. Pathetic, he said to his second-in-command, Officer Krell. Their largest weapons platform has less firepower than our smallest scout ship. They have nuclear weapons, Krell noted. Primitive technology. Our shields will easily block such attacks. Vexnar zoomed in on Earth's moon. They have a few bases here, but nothing significant. This conquest will be simpler than most. What the Zalthori couldn't see was happening 100 feet beneath the lunar surface. There, in a vast underground complex hidden from orbital scans, Dr. Kevin Ortiz worked frantically with his team. Kevin was a short man with dark, curly hair and tired eyes. He hadn't slept in 3 days, not since the aliens arrived. Around him, scientists and engineers checked equipment and ran tests on a device that took up most of the central chamber. The quantum disruption field is stable at 50% power, reported his assistant, Lisa Gomez, but we've never tested it at full strength. Kevin nodded. We never thought we'd need to. He tapped commands into his tablet. If my calculations are correct, this will affect their ships at the subatomic level. Their matter will simply fall apart. And if your calculations are wrong? Lisa asked. Kevin smiled grimly. Then it was nice knowing you. On Earth, Admiral Daniels coordinated the global response from the Underground Command Center in Colorado. Screens covered the walls showing military leaders from around the world. "Status report," she ordered. General Wu from the Asian Alliance spoke first. "Civilian evacuations to underground shelters are at 90% completion. European Union forces are in position," added General Dubois. "Our visible defensive systems are active just as planned." Admiral Daniels nodded. "Good. We need the Zalthori to see exactly what they expect to see. Nothing more." Major Frank Rodriguez led his special operations team across the dark side of the moon. Their ship had no running lights and used minimal power to avoid detection. Inside, 12 men and women checked their equipment. They wore advanced spacesuits designed for stealth operations. "Remember," Frank told his team, "these satellites must be placed precisely according to the coordinates. The entire defense plan depends on proper positioning." His second-in-command, Lieutenant Samantha Collins, studied data on her wrist computer. She was tall, with short blonde hair and a serious expression. "Major, I've been analyzing these Althori communications we intercepted," she said quietly. "I noticed something interesting in their biological data." Frank moved closer. "What did you find?" "They seem vulnerable to a specific frequency of electromagnetic radiation. It's barely mentioned in their medical files, but it's there. Like, they're trying to hide a weakness." Frank considered this. "Can we use it?" "Maybe. I've modified one of our communication devices to broadcast at that frequency, but I don't know what effect it will have." "Keep it ready," Frank said. "We might need every advantage we can get." Back at Luna Defense Laboratory, Admiral Daniels appeared on the main screen. Her face was stern. "Dr. Ortiz, status report." Kevin straightened his lab coat. "The quantum disruption field is as ready as it will ever be, Admiral. But without a full-scale test, I can't guarantee results." "We don't have time for more tests," she replied. "The Zalthori deadline expires in 6 hours. Are the trigger mechanisms in place?" "Yes. Once Major Rodriguez deploys the satellite network, we can activate the field remotely." Admiral Daniels nodded. "Good, because we're sending a surrender message to the aliens in 5 hours. We need everything ready before then." In space, Major Rodriguez's team worked quickly, deploying small satellites at specific points around Earth's orbit. Each one looked like ordinary communication equipment, but contained specialized technology designed by Dr. Ortiz's team. "One in position," reported Lieutenant Collins. "Grid is complete." Frank checked his display. "Perfect. Now we get to the moon base before—" A warning light flashed on his console. "Zalthori patrol ship approaching. Everyone power down now." Their ship went dark as the much larger alien vessel passed nearby. For tense minutes, they floated in silence, watching the enemy ship through viewport. "They're scanning the area," whispered Samantha. "Our stealth systems will hold," Frank said, hoping he was right. Eventually, the alien ship moved on, continuing its patrol. Frank's team resumed their course to the moon base. On the Zalthori flagship, High Commander Vexnar received a message from Earth. It was Captain Hayes, looking appropriately defeated. "High Commander," Gregory said, his voice heavy. "I have been authorized to inform you that Earth wishes to discuss terms of surrender. We request a meeting aboard your vessel." Vexnar's mouth parts formed what passed for a smile among his species. "Wise decision, human. Your delegation will be received in 4 hours. Prepare to transfer authority of your planet to the Zalthori Empire." When the transmission ended, Vexnar turned to his officers. "Begin moving the fleet into low Earth orbit. Position our weapons for a demonstration of power. We'll destroy one of their major cities after they surrender to ensure compliance." Officer Krell hesitated. "Is that necessary, Commander? If they're surrendering—" "Of course it's necessary," snapped Vexnar. "Fear maintains order. This is how we've built our empire. Never question our methods again." As the alien fleet began to move into position around Earth, Admiral Daniels met with Vice Admiral Jordan Carter. He was a tall, serious man with dark skin and a completely bald head. I understand the mission, Jordan said. My crew and I will take the USS Defiance to meet with the aliens. We'll keep them distracted while the real defense activates. Admiral Daniels put her hand on his shoulder. This is a volunteer mission, Jordan. The odds of survival are... She didn't finish. We all volunteered, he replied firmly. Every member of my crew knows what's at stake. They both knew that the USS Defiance would likely be destroyed. It was carrying the first prototype of Dr. Ortiz's quantum disruption technology, designed to destabilize the Zalthori flagship. As the deadline approached, Earth appeared to be preparing for defeat. White flags were strategically displayed in locations visible from orbit. Military units made a show of standing down. It was all part of the plan. Lieutenant Collins joined Dr. Ortiz in the lunar lab. Major Rodriguez sent me to help with the electromagnetic frequency weapon. Kevin looked up from his work. How would that help? The quantum disruption field targets their technology, not their biology. It might give us an edge if they board this facility, she explained. They'll try to stop us from activating the field. Kevin nodded. Good thinking. The controls are over there. As they worked, the massive Zalthori fleet moved into position around Earth. From space, the blue planet looked peaceful and unaware of what was coming. The aliens expected an easy victory. They had no idea they were flying into a trap. The USS Defiance moved slowly toward the Zalthori flagship. Vice Admiral Jordan Carter stood on the bridge, watching the massive alien vessel grow larger on the view screen. The ship was enormous, at least 20 times the size of the largest Earth vessel. All stations report ready, Admiral, said his communications officer, Linda Patel. Jordan nodded. Remember, we need to keep them talking as long as possible. Every minute we buy gives our people more time to prepare. The Defiance carried a delegation of 50 officers, all volunteers. Each understood the mission might be one way. As they approached the alien ship, massive doors opened in its side, revealing a docking bay. They're guiding us in, said the pilot. Following their instructions now. Jordan straightened his uniform. Let's make this look good. Aboard the Zalthori flagship, High Commander Vexnar waited with a guard of honor. The human ship was now safely contained within their docking bay, surrounded by armed troops. When the airlock opened, Jordan led his delegation onto the alien ship. He carried a metal case that supposedly contained Earth's surrender documents. Hi, Commander, Jordan said with a formal bow. I bring greetings from Earth. I am Vice Admiral Jordan Carter. Vexnar's black eyes showed no emotion. You bring surrender, not greetings. Follow me. The humans were led through corridors of shimmering metal to a large meeting chamber. The walls displayed moving images of planets being conquered, species bowing before Zalthori leaders. Impressive displays, Jordan commented, buying time. Your empire must be vast. 17 worlds before yours, replied Vexnar. Soon to be 18. Now, the surrender documents. Jordan opened his case slowly. There are details we must discuss first. Terms that would make the transition easier for both sides. Back on Earth, Admiral Daniels watched the meeting through a hidden camera in Jordan's uniform button. He's doing well, she said to her staff. The Zalthori are focused on the flagship. Status of their fleet? They've moved into bombardment positions around major cities, replied her tactical officer. All ships are in the grid, Admiral Daniels nodded grimly. Activate defense platforms. Across Earth, hidden missile silos opened. Launch platforms rose from beneath the ocean. What looked like communication towers revealed themselves as weapons. The Zalthori sensors detected this sudden activity. On the flagship, an alarm sounded. Vexnar received an urgent message from his fleet command. The humans are activating weapons, the officer reported. They're launching missiles. Vexnar turned to Jordan, rage distorting his alien features. Treachery. You never intended to surrender. Jordan stood tall. We never surrender, especially to bullies. The missiles launched from Earth didn't target the alien ships directly. Instead, they took positions throughout Earth orbit, forming a complex grid pattern. Each one released a small device that began emitting energy pulses. Vexnar wasn't concerned. Your primitive weapons can't penetrate our shields. This is pointless resistance. He pressed a control on his wrist device. All ships, destroy the human delegation ship as an example. Multiple Zalthori weapons fired on the USS Defiance. The Earth ship exploded instantly, killing the crew members who had remained aboard. Your people just died for nothing, Vexnar told Jordan, and now your cities will burn. Jordan smiled slightly. I don't think so. At that moment, Jordan pressed a hidden button on his belt. The case he had brought aboard suddenly opened, releasing a device that began to pulse with blue light. What is that? Demanded Vexnar. A gift from Earth, Jordan replied. On the moon, Dr. Ortiz watched his monitors as the device activated on the Zalthori flagship. The seed device is active, he announced. Quantum disruption field initiating. The technology had never been used at full power before. Kevin held his breath as energy readings climbed. Will it work? Asked Lisa. It has to, Kevin replied. In space, the Zalthori ships fired on Earth's defense platforms. Several were destroyed immediately, but the remaining platforms continued to power the growing energy grid. Commander Allison Wright, who had first spotted the alien fleet, now commanded Earth's remaining orbital forces from a hidden station. She watched as the Zalthori ships targeted Earth's visible defenses. They're taking the bait, she said to her crew. Executing Operation Mousetrap. Her ships, hidden behind Earth's moon, suddenly broke cover. They weren't attacking the alien vessels directly. Instead, they were hurting them, using strategic fire to push the Zalthori ships into specific positions within the energy grid. On the Zalthori flagship, Vexnar ordered Jordan and his delegation taken prisoner. But before the guards could move, the device Jordan had brought began to pulse faster. What's happening? Demanded one of the alien officers as the ship's lights flickered. Jordan looked at his watch. Right about now, you should be experiencing some technical difficulties. Throughout the Zalthori fleet, alarms were sounding. Ships that entered the energy grid reported strange readings from their power cores. High Commander, called an officer, multiple ships are reporting power fluctuations. Something is affecting our quantum energy matrices. Vexnar turned to his view screen, watching in disbelief as one of his cruisers suddenly began to glow from within. The ship's hull seemed to shimmer, then simply fell apart, its matter breaking down at the subatomic level. Impossible, he shouted. Jordan stepped forward. You thought we were primitive. You thought we would be easy to conquer. You were wrong. More Zalthori ships began to fail as they crossed into the energy grid. Some tried to retreat only to find themselves blocked by Commander Wright's forces. On the lunar surface, Dr. Ortiz's lab came under sudden attack. Zalthori dropships landed nearby, deploying troops to assault the facility. They found us, Kevin shouted as explosions rocked the lab. They're trying to stop the disruption field. Major Frank Rodriguez and his team rushed to defensive positions. We need to hold them off. The field isn't at full strength yet. The Zalthori troops broke through the outer doors, their weapons blazing. Earth soldiers fought back, but the aliens had superior firepower. Lieutenant Samantha Collins remembered her discovery. The electromagnetic frequency, she shouted to Frank. I need to get to the broadcast station. Frank nodded. Go. We'll cover you. Samantha ran through the chaos, dodging energy blasts. She reached the communication station and quickly programmed in the frequency she had discovered. With a silent prayer, she activated the broadcast. The effect was immediate and shocking. The advancing Zalthori troops suddenly clutched at their breathing slits, dropping their weapons. Some fell to their knees, unable to move forward. It's working, Samantha called. They can't handle this frequency. Frank organized his soldiers. Push them back. Keep them away from the main lab. In space, the battle was turning in Earth's favor. More Zalthori ships were breaking apart as the quantum disruption field grew stronger. The space around Earth glowed with strange, beautiful light as alien matter disintegrated. On the flagship, Jordan and his delegation fought against their guards, taking advantage of the ship's failing systems. Jordan knew they probably wouldn't survive, but their mission was already accomplished. Commander Wright coordinated the Earth forces, pushing more alien ships into the growing disruption field. Her tactical officer reported excitedly. "Commander, the Zalthari are calling for reinforcements. They've opened a wormhole near Neptune." Allison Wright's face hardened. "We can't fight two fleets. Contact Dr. Monroe immediately." Dr. Eliza Monroe worked frantically in her lab beneath the Pacific Ocean. She had been analyzing the data from the destroyed USS Defiance when the urgent call came from Commander Wright. "The Zalthari are opening another wormhole," Wright explained, over the secure line. "We need a way to close it before their reinforcements arrive." Eliza pushed her glasses up her nose and studied the complex equations on her screen. "I think I can help. When the Zalthari first arrived, I recorded the energy signature of their wormhole technology. If we can generate an opposing frequency..." She trailed off, fingers flying over her keyboard. Gregory Hayes stood nearby, watching anxiously. "Can it be done?" he asked. "Maybe," Eliza replied. "But we'd need to position a device at the exact coordinates of the wormhole, and we'd need an enormous power source." Gregory thought for a moment. "What about the disruption field? Could we redirect some of that energy?" Eliza's eyes widened. "Yes, that could work. Let me contact Dr. Ortiz." On the lunar surface, the battle for the research facility continued. Major Rodriguez and his team had pushed back the initial wave of Zalthari troops, thanks to Lieutenant Collins's discovery about the electromagnetic frequency. But more alien ships were landing outside. Inside the main lab, Dr. Ortiz received Eliza's transmission. "Kevin, I need to borrow some power from the disruption field," Eliza explained quickly. "We can collapse their wormhole, but only if we act fast." Kevin ran calculations on his screen. "If we divert power, the disruption field will weaken. Some Zalthari ships might survive. If we don't close that wormhole, their reinforcements will overwhelm us anyway," Eliza countered. Kevin nodded, grimly. "You're right. I'm sending you the access codes now, but hurry. We're under attack here." As if to emphasize his point, an explosion rocked the lab. Part of the ceiling collapsed, crushing equipment and injuring several scientists. "We need more time." Kevin shouted to Major Rodriguez, who was directing the defense from the doorway. "We'll give you what we can," Frank replied, his face streaked with dust and blood. "Collins, can you boost that frequency?" Samantha adjusted her equipment. "I'm pushing it to maximum now, but it won't stop them forever. They'll adapt." In space, the scene was chaotic. Dozens of Zalthari ships had been destroyed, their matter disintegrating into beautiful glowing clouds. But others remained operational, either because they were outside the disruption field or because they had somehow adapted to it. Commander Wright received new orders from Admiral Daniels. "We need to clear a path to Neptune," the Admiral explained. "Dr. Monroe needs to deploy a device at the wormhole coordinates." "Understood," replied Allison. She turned to her tactical officer. "Redirect all available ships. We need to open a corridor to Neptune." Earth vessels began to move into formation, drawing Zalthari fire away from a specific vector leading to the outer planet. The aliens, sensing a strategy, concentrated their attacks on this apparent weakness. On the Zalthari flagship, Vice Admiral Jordan Carter and his surviving delegation members fought their way through the corridors. The ship was in chaos, with systems failing and crew members in panic. "We need to reach the main power core," Jordan told his people. "If we can destabilize it here, their entire command structure will fall." They encountered resistance at every turn. But the confusion aboard the ship worked in their favor. Many Zalthari were too busy trying to maintain critical systems to focus on the humans. High Commander Vexnar had retreated to the secondary command center after the main bridge lost power. His black eyes reflected the emergency lights as he issued orders. "Deploy our remaining ships to protect the wormhole," he commanded. "Our reinforcements must get through." His second-in-command, Officer Krell, approached cautiously. "High Commander, perhaps we should consider withdrawing. The humans have weapons we did not anticipate." Vexanar struck Krell with one of his forearms, sending him sprawling. "The Zalthari do not retreat. Prepare the planet killer. If we cannot have this world, no one will." Back at the lunar facility, the situation was growing desperate. The Zalthori had adapted to the electromagnetic frequency, wearing protective gear as they renewed their assault. Major Rodriguez had lost half his team and they were being pushed back toward the main lab. "We can't hold them much longer," Frank told Dr. Ortiz. "How much more time do you need?" "Just a few more minutes," Kevin replied, working to stabilize the disruption field while diverting power to Dr. Monroe's wormhole plan. "I've almost got it." Lieutenant Collins dragged an injured soldier to cover. "Major, I've got another idea. The frequency affected their biology. What if we modify it to affect their technology instead?" Frank looked at her. "Can you do that?" "With Dr. Ortiz's help, maybe," she said. They quickly explained the plan to Kevin, who nodded excitedly. "Yes, their quantum technology operates on specific frequencies. If we broadcast a disrupting signal..." They worked together, reprogramming the broadcast equipment while the remaining soldiers held the line against the advancing aliens. Near Neptune, a small fast Earth ship approached the coordinates where the new wormhole was forming. Dr. Monroe had remained on Earth, but she controlled the device remotely. The ship carried the specialized equipment needed to generate the opposing frequencies she had calculated. "We're in position," reported the ship's captain. "Awaiting your signal, Dr. Monroe." Eliza checked her readings one last time. The wormhole was growing larger, its edges stabilizing. Through it, she could see the first ships of the Zalthori reinforcement fleet preparing to enter. "Activate now," she ordered. The device powered up, drawing energy from the quantum disruption field surrounding Earth. It generated a precise frequency pattern, targeting the specific quantum states that maintained the wormhole's stability. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the wormhole began to fluctuate, its edges becoming unstable. "It's working," Eliza exclaimed, watching her monitors. "The wormhole is collapsing." On the other side, the Zalthori reinforcements accelerated, trying to enter, before the passage closed. Some made it through, a dozen large warships, but then the wormhole collapsed completely, cutting off the rest of the fleet. Commander Wright received the update. "The wormhole is closed, but we have new hostiles. All ships, engage the newcomers." Herd them into the disruption field. At the lunar facility, Dr. Ortiz and Lieutenant Collins completed their modifications. The new broadcast began, targeting the specific quantum frequencies used in Zalthori technology. The effect was immediate. The attacking aliens' weapons suddenly failed, their communication devices exploded, and their protective suits malfunctioned. Deprived of their technological advantage, they fell back in disarray. "It worked," Samantha shouted. "We've neutralized their tech." Major Rodriguez led a counterattack, pushing the confused aliens back toward their landing ships. On the Zalthori flagship, High Commander Vexnar watched in growing rage as his reinforcements were cut off and his main fleet was destroyed ship by ship. "Prepare the planet killer for firing," he ordered. "Target their largest city. Let them learn the price of defiance." What he didn't know was that Vice Admiral Jordan Carter and his team had reached the ship's main power core. They planted devices similar to the one Jordan had brought aboard, smaller versions of Dr. Ortiz's quantum disruption technology. "This should destabilize their entire power system," Jordan said as they set the final device. "We need to get to an escape pod if there are any left." "Time to firing. 2 minutes," announced the Zalthori weapons officer on the command deck. Vexnar's mouth parts formed what passed for a smile in his species. "Soon, humans will be just a memory." The Zalthori flagship glowed with an eerie blue light as it prepared to fire its planet-killer weapon. On the command deck, High Commander Vexnar watched the targeting system lock onto New York City. "Firing sequence initiated," reported the weapons officer. 90 seconds to full power." Vexnar stood tall, his forearms held wide in a gesture of triumph. Even as his fleet was being destroyed around him, he would have his revenge. "Let the humans witness true power before they die," he said. Deep within the flagship, Vice Admiral Jordan Carter and his remaining team members felt the ship vibrate as energy built up in its main systems. "They're powering up something big," said Linda Patel, checking readings on her device. "Based on these energy levels, it could destroy an entire city." Jordan nodded grimly. Then we're out of time. He activated the quantum disruption devices they had planted around the power core. Everyone find cover. This is going to be rough. The devices began to pulse, emitting the same energy field that was destroying Zalthori ships throughout Earth orbit. Here, at the heart of their flagship, the effect was immediate and catastrophic. Alarms blared throughout the ship as the quantum disruption spread from the power core. The flagship's structure began to destabilize at the atomic level. On the command deck, Vexnar received urgent reports. High Commander, power core destabilizing. The human prisoners have activated some kind of weapon. Impossible, Vexnar shouted. Override, complete the firing sequence. We can't, replied the panicked officer. Systems are failing throughout the ship. Matter cohesion is breaking down. Vexnar realized too late what was happening. The humans had planted the same technology that was destroying his fleet. His mighty flagship, the pride of the Zalthori Empire, was disintegrating from within. In Earth orbit, Commander Allison Wright watched in awe as the enormous Zalthori flagship began to glow brighter and brighter. All ships pull back, she ordered. That thing's gonna blow! The remaining Earth vessels retreated to a safe distance. The flagship's hull shimmered like a mirage, its matter breaking apart at the subatomic level. On the lunar surface, the battle had turned. With their technology failing, the Zalthori troops were in retreat. Major Frank Rodriguez led his soldiers in a final push to clear the facility. They're running, shouted one of his soldiers as the aliens scrambled back to their landing ships. Lieutenant Samantha Collins joined Frank at the entrance to the facility. Her uniform was torn and dirty, but her eyes were bright with triumph. Look, she pointed to the sky where the glow of the Zalthori flagship was visible even from the moon. In the command center beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Patricia Daniels watched the feed from orbital cameras. The flagship was now a brilliant point of light, brighter than any star. Jordan, she whispered, knowing her friend and colleague was still aboard that ship. Dr. Eliza Monroe stood beside her, monitoring the quantum disruption field. The flagship's power core is completely destabilized. When it goes, it will take out any Zalthori ships nearby. Gregory Hayes asked the question everyone was thinking. Is there any chance for survivors? Could Jordan and his team have escaped? Admiral Daniels shook her head slowly. The odds are not good. On the flagship, Jordan and his team raced through disintegrating corridors, searching for escape pods. Walls shimmered and disappeared around them. Floors became unstable beneath their feet. There. Linda pointed to an escape pod bay ahead. They reached it just as the section behind them vanished into glowing particles. Jordan helped his people. Into the pods. Go, he ordered Linda as she hesitated at the last pod. I'll find another way. There is no other way, she argued. The ship shuddered violently. Jordan pushed her into the pod and sealed it. That's an order, Lieutenant. He slapped the launch control, sending Linda's pod shooting away from the dying ship. Jordan turned, knowing he had run out of time and options. To his surprise, he found himself face to face with High Commander Vexnar. The alien leader had escaped the command deck, seeking his private escape vessel. His black eyes fixed on Jordan with pure hatred. You, Vexnar hissed. You did this. Not just me, Jordan replied calmly. All of humanity stood against you. You thought we would be easy to conquer. You were wrong. Vexnar lunged forward with all four arms, but it was too late. The section of corridor between them simply ceased to exist as the quantum disruption reached critical levels. The flagship erupted in a spectacular burst of light, vaporizing instantly and taking several nearby Zalthori vessels with it. The remaining alien ships, seeing their leader and command structure destroyed, began to retreat in disarray. From the lunar facility, Dr. Kevin Ortiz watched the explosion with mixed emotions. His technology had worked better than he had ever imagined, but at a terrible cost. We did it, Lisa Gomez said quietly beside him. Earth is safe. In the days that followed, the remaining Zalthori forces were hunted down and destroyed. Without their leadership and cut off from reinforcements, they posed little threat to Earth's combined forces. Scientists began studying the alien technology from captured vessels and equipment. Dr. Monroe made an interesting discovery as she examined Zalthori records. Their empire was failing, she explained to Admiral Daniels and Gregory Hayes. They were running out of resources. That's why they were conquering other worlds so aggressively. They needed new planets to strip mine. So we weren't just another conquest, Gregory said. We were their lifeline. Admiral Daniels nodded. And now they're gone. 6 months later, Commander Allison Wright stood on the observation deck of a new ship. It was unlike anything humans had built before, incorporating technology reverse-engineered from Zalthori vessels. Its sleek hull gleamed in the lights of the space dock. She's beautiful, said Lieutenant Collins, who had joined Allison's crew after her heroism during the lunar battle. The USS Jordan Carter, Allison said proudly. First of our new Deep Space Explorer class. Dr. Kevin Ortiz approached them, carrying a tablet with final system checks. She's ready, Commander. The modified Zalthori drive system is stable. We can reach Proxima Centauri in just under a month. Good, Allison replied. Humanity's first trip to another star system. This time we go as explorers, not conquerors. Major Rodriguez joined them at the viewport. Hard to believe 6 months ago we were fighting for our survival. Now we're heading to the stars. Allison nodded. The Zalthori taught us something important. There are other civilizations out there, and not all of them are friendly, but they also gave us the means to reach them. Dr. Eliza Monroe entered the observation deck. As the new ship's chief science officer, she had been busy preparing for their mission. We'll be making contact with other species eventually, she said. I hope we can do better than the Zalthori did. We will, Allison promised. We're not looking for worlds to conquer or resources to steal. We want to learn, to understand, and yes, to warn others about what happens when you underestimate humanity. As the new ship prepared to depart, Earth continued its recovery. The Zalthori attack had united the planet as nothing before. Old conflicts seemed petty in the face of what humanity had endured together. The stars beckoned, and humanity was ready to answer, not as conquerors but as explorers carrying a simple message. Earth was not to be trifled with, but was open to true friendship among the stars.